Good morning from Malaysia. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer of the World Conference of Science Literacy 2020, the China Association for Science Technology, for inviting the Academy of Sciences Malaysia to deliver the keynote speech. We are very honored to be here virtually together with the eminent lineup of speakers today. The year 2020 shows that COVID-19 touches every part of life around the globe, and it is important that we understand the science of our new realities and have an informed citizen at all levels, be it a leader, politicians, policymakers, teachers, students, and public at large. Never in a modern time have we seen such an overwhelming demonstration of the need for science literacy. Science literacy comes to put public awareness in place so that public engagement and empowerment can bring about needed changes for the community to live with the virus. Today, I will be sharing our experience in communicating to our stakeholders on COVID-19 in helping Malaysians to understand the crisis. As the thought leader in science, technology, innovation, and communication is one of our core business to our stakeholder, we embark our efforts to promote science literacy as one of the pandemic new norms through collaborative with government with the objective to make the information available, communicated, and publicized at national and regional level. This year, Academy is celebrating our 25th anniversary and among the youngest academy in the world. We are an independent statutory body reporting to the Parliament through the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. We champion science excellence, science literacy towards enhancing scientific capacity and literacy of the country. We do a lot of policy studies and engagement to communicate science to our stakeholder. We are battling a deadly pandemic, and this is numbers at a glance on COVID-19 in Malaysia. We are in conditional movement control order since 14 October until 6 December, and our government will evaluate the situation and make decisions based on the analysis by the expert. Before this, we had gone through total lockdown for about 3 months from March to June. As you can see, government need to come up with a new SOP for different sectors like schools, offices, factory, public places, and these need science literacy to make an informed decision that is safe and effective for the public. What I mean by science here is not limited to natural science, but all domains of knowledge where intellectual deliberation occur and evidence is sought after. We have over 800 experts coming from 8 disciplines, and all of them are actively involved in all of our activities. There are the authority or the academia in their field and always being sought after by government, industry, and public nationally and internationally. One of the most active group in the Academy is the Young Scientist Network, whereby the members are all under 40 years old. This is a chapter under the Academy. As you can see here, the activities very much in line with towards science at media, science communications, science policy, and science education to reach out to the public, especially the young generation, to increase their interest in STEM. These are how we operate. Our academy is governed by a council, and we will form committees and task forces chaired by our experts, fellows, and we have 6 main activities. One of our main activities is science communication that repackage all other activities and use all the inputs from our studies, activities, etc., and organize programs or publications to communicate our findings, ideas, facts to our stakeholders. We do our enculturation process in STEM in 3 phases. At preschool and primary school, the communication approach is more towards awareness, so it must be more simple, interactive, and start nurturing their curiosity to explore, understand, and learn. At secondary school, we focus more facts, understanding the concept, and ultimately, our objective is for all Malaysian and public at large to be more engaged using the science knowledge in their everyday life and building the culture of science in our society. We need to nurture our young generation in this process to have 100% science literate and engaged society. At Academy, we have several special interest groups and task forces in emerging technologies and issues. During the pandemic, we formed 2 groups on COVID-19 and zoonosis. And all these groups working together and feed all the information needed and vet through all information that we want to communicate to our stakeholders. We use multi-pronged approach. First, coming from a scientific literate group, we communicate by using our science inquiry skills and science understanding to reach out through our communication program and initiative to write and communicate to our stakeholder and public at large on COVID-19 topics. Second, we train our scientists to be mentor or train our science teachers to use the inquiry-based science education, IBSE, to encourage them to write, read, and listen to all our programs, participate in our competitions to enhance their science inquiry skills, to be more creative and innovative towards science literacy society. So most of our activities during pandemic is using these approaches to our stakeholders. Our activities in communicating is planned by our corporate relations and science communication. We communicate through all our platforms such as publications, newsletter, national print media, electronic media, social media, press releases, brand events, report and position papers, journals, infographic, videos, etc. We have 6 communication strategies that we use in Academy. First is we need to know our audience and target, then only we package our communication plan. Second, we have to have a clear info facts that is easy to understand by public using a layman's word. Third is we repackage our work based on the audience and target group. For instance, if the communication is targeted to the policymakers, most of our write-ups, the way we present is using the policy words. Fourth, effective writing style. We have a group of writers in the Academy that write effectively to attract public for them to understand. In this way, we use the right keywords to attract them, for them to start reading our communication materials. Fifth is timely, credible, and evidence-based. As an academy, we should base all our information on evidence, and as an academy, we have to ensure it is credible and we should broadcast it timely in order to fulfill the needs of the public. And 6, sustain and amplify our engagement. We will monitor all our communication programs and we will sustain and amplify it from time to time to ensure it is sustainable and continuously the public can rely on Academy's communication plan for them to get an informed information on COVID-19. Our target group during COVID-19 or all our programs in Academy are policymakers, researchers and scientists, education, international and public. Let us see under policymakers. We have a lot of mainstream media, premium television forum whereby we bring our experts and start to have this discussion on COVID-19, be it in our own language, Bahasa Malaysia, or in English. We also bring international experts to our national TV for them to share. And this is where we reach out to all our parliamentarians, policymakers, for them to understand and start benchmarking of all the good practices that has been done outside Malaysia. We also go to national television. This is where we target all the current topics that we have for understanding of the public and all the viewership. We will keep on monitoring it to ensure it is impactful and reaching out to the target group. This is, we also go to radio, national radio, and we also talk to all the radio DJ for us to bring in what are the current issues that need to be delivered to the public. So we put forward all these experts in national and premium television and radio channels in giving their views and facts to the policymakers from the scientific perspective. So through this discourse, we could reach out to all policymakers discussing on strategy and action to be taken, provided with latest data, enabling them to make informed decisions. By having this on the various media platforms, we are also reaching out to the public so they have better understanding on the situation and increase their awareness on this pandemic. We monitor our outreach for each engagement, and to date, we have achieved 52 million media reach. As an academy, we monitor where we are in science and technology, and one of the pillars that we are monitoring closely is science literacy and engagement. One of our recommendations is to increase the interest of our students in STEM. This is our biannual report, and so far, 80% of our recommendations has been taken up by the government. So not only we increase the awareness of science to the public, we are also providing input for the government in making policy in place. We are members in several national committees, so we are very much involved directly and having first-hand information through our ministry. Through these committees, we gave our experts' view for the policymakers and ministries to make an informed decision and help government in communicating to the public on all new standard operating procedure that was developed by government. This is important to make public understand the science behind it and get better cooperation by public. When the understanding is there, the outcome is more promising and we keep on showing the progress. So as you can see, science literacy just not go to the young generations or public. We also need science literacy towards policymakers. This will ensure all actions taken is well understood from the scientific perspective and all Malaysians understood to achieve the shared vision of the government in combating the pandemic. Let us see how do we reach out to researchers and scientists. These are some examples of fellows think pieces, how we do our webinar series throughout 2020. And we also have this new initiative called Malaysian Open Science Platform for COVID-19 as a satellite project under this initiative. So all these several initiatives conducted by Academy, we prepare a position paper on COVID-19 as part of our efforts in providing the necessary STI recommendation that could assist the government in addressing the current COVID-19 crisis and also for the future preparedness on matters pertaining to the infectious disease. Preparations of the policy papers on zoonosis to help the government in charting the future planning and direction in mitigating any emerging and re-emerging of zoonotic disease through science technology innovation could be embarked. Coordinating and strategizing research focus area to accelerate the search for vaccines and therapeutic surveillance and prediction also is one of our initiatives working hand in hand as a researcher and scientist with the government. So we also encourage collaboration and sharing research data through Malaysian Open Science Platform repository for COVID-19. This is where we also do science literacy among researchers and scientists for them to start sharing their data and collaborate to ensure that our research can be expedited and the result we can fetch it faster. A data repository COVID-19 centric for sharing unpublished scientific data and data sets, publications and report produced by Malaysian scientists. So we hope with this, more collaboration of research among Malaysian researchers could be embarked during this pandemic seasons. Next is education. This is another target group that Academy focus very much because this is very important. This year, for the first time, we organized the first virtual National Science Challenge. Before this, since 1987, we have been organizing this National Science Challenge nationally to all secondary schools in Malaysia. So this year, because of the pandemic, it does not stop us. We still organize this competition through our virtual platform. And very good response. We have around 1,027 schools participate in these competitions. We also do a lot of online reaching out lecture series by our young scientists. And all these programs, the National Science Challenge and all this is broadcasted at our National Education Channel in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. The Academy also active at ASEAN Regional Platform. We are the Secretariat of two ASEAN programs. One is ASEAN Foresight Alliance and another one is ASEAN Young Scientist Network. Through these two platforms, we actively working hand in hand with ASEAN to organize a workshop on training young scientists and policymakers to do foresighting on ASEAN, example on COVID-19 pandemic and or similar pandemic. Next, we also encourage through our ASEAN Young Scientist Network for our young scientists to do collaborative research on COVID-19. So this is how we communicate to our regional partners, regional young scientists, in order to get also to increase science literacy and science engagement among young scientists in ASEAN. Next, we are also actively supporting the InterAcademy partnership statements on COVID-19 pandemic, and we are also actively supporting the World Academy of Science statement on COVID-19. This is how we involve, and through all the information that we get from the international, we bring back to Malaysia and we share it public to our public. Let's see how do we approach public in our science communication program to increase literacy on COVID-19. One of the most popular program in Academy is Fascinate series. This is where we bring our fellows to give a TikTok style lecture to reach out to the public to talk about current issues. So through this, we just introduced this last year and this year, and we have accumulated around 21,000 views online through our YouTube channel. Next is, we also do a lot of COVID-19 research studies factship, whereby we publish this weekly during the lockdown, and this helped very much, especially when we publish this in our own national language. We can see the total reach of 149,000, and most of the schools, organization download this and print it to be shared at their community or their colleague and peers, and this has a very good impact and reach out for us to give science literacy among our public, students, teachers, workers on how to follow the SOP and to understand to curb this pandemic in the community. We also go towards opening a TikTok accounts in Academy to reach out to the young generation and to give a short, simple message about COVID-19. And so far, it has been given a very good response from public of all this reach out of communication plan that we have. We use all sort of platforms, name it social media, and the latest platform like TikTok. We go to the national TV, radio, print newspaper, so on and so forth. Even we present this to the policymakers in order to make the information available for them and for them to make an informed decision and for public to have a greater understanding on this pandemic. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is our experience in Malaysia, and we hope with this sharing session, it also we can work together with other academy in the world, especially with CAS or any other organization from all the countries that participate in this conference. And we hope with this approach, we can move forward and fight this pandemic and we can win this war. Okay, last but not least, my key takeaway for all the participants here is we, people, need to learn, unlearn, relearn, co-learn and co-create science and continue communicating it to public towards achieving scientific literacy and knowledgeable society. Thank you very much.